This podcast was recorded on Awabakal and Gubby Gubby land.
Hi, I'm Kurt Fernley, Paralympian.
And I'm Paralympian Riley Batt.
And we're back for our fourth season of You Little Ripper. And Riley, it's going to be a massive year. Firstly, how are you doing? How's the shoulder?
We're not talking about that first episode, mate. We are not. Yeah. Let's talk about how you made it 4 seasons for You Little Ripper, mate. How have I not taken over the top spot here, or someone else came in and bumped you off, mate? You must be loved.
You're the competitor in you. Look at this. We're about love here at You Little Ripper. We like to make sure that we tell all the stories of the Paralympic world. And old man Fernley, I'm like one of those cross guys in the Muppets. I'm always going to be here.
And I'm very thankful that you're here, mate, because I don't think anyone could do a job like you. We love you here on You Little Ripper. You know that. You know I love you, Kurt.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Riley Batt. But seriously, like, this is a massive year for you. This is heading into your 6th games.
Yeah, 6 games, mate. Jeez.
6 games.
How many have you done, Kurt?
I did 5, mate. And
does that mean I'm going to do, hopefully, might do more Paralympics than the great Kurt Fernley?
How many gold medals have you won?
I've had 5 opportunities and won 2. So what's the percentage on that?
No, you're going to start talking about
you want to go
the
percentage?
Amount of events that an individual athlete gets to go. The old T-sword. 2 from 5
actually,
opportunities.
if you think about it, we've won 2 gold medals, but there's 12 on the team. So we've won 24 gold medals, Kurt. And 12 silver.
All right, then my little sledge at the top of the show has got cut down. 2 gold medals isn't bad. If you get a 3rd one, though, then you're welcome to take my spot here on the You Little Ripper anchor seat. How's the body feeling, mate? You've come through the Christmas period. Qualification happens in 2 more months. We spoke about it. I won't labour on other teams that are qualifying. I won't labour on the really stressful period of time it is before you get that qualified seat. So, how'd you pull up after the Christmas period? Did you take a break?
I don't like to take a break. I'm probably similar to you, Kurt. I love to be active and push my body. I thrive off that. Even when they want you to take 2 weeks off, I'm like, can't I just do some sort of cross training? I don't like to sit still. Personally, for me, didn't want to talk about the shoulder in the podcast. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about, but you brought it up, so let's talk about it.
Hey, really, that shoulder is the thing that gets spoken about as much as Lauren, You Little Ripper Parker.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have to talk about it much longer. But for me, it's been up and down. Injuries are ups and downs, right? Sports up and down. So it was fantastic at the end of the last year. I was like, I could be back here. I was starting to get the strength numbers back up, and then we had a couple more pops and potentially tears, so that set me back a little bit. But I'm ahead more the start of this year than I was at the start of last year. And we look at the results we got last year, and I was happy with how I performed. I don't think I was at the top elite of my game, but I was getting there. So for me personally, set back a little bit at the moment from what I was a couple of months ago. But we're going to build more on this year. And, injuries are all about, they're like a graph, right? You're going up, you go down. It's not always a smooth sailing up. It's ups and downs. And hopefully those ups are higher than the ones previously. So that's me, mate. But yeah, as you said, we've got the qualification tournament in New Zealand in March. It is so hard to think that, because every Paralympic Games I've been involved in, we've qualified the year before or 2 years before. So it's really hard to talk about, going to your 6 Paralympic Games when you haven't qualified. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. I know we do have a good chance of qualifying if we finish on the podium. So if we get a medal at this repechage tournament, top 3 qualify for the Paris 2024 Games. So quite confident there, but you never know what can happen. But we took it last year pretty hard, to be honest, Kurt, as when we knew we had to go to this tournament that, oh no, we have to go to a qualification tournament. But to be honest, I think it's actually a blessing in disguise that we are going to play against 7 other incredible teams, more experience for us, more gelling as a team, and build our way into this Paris campaign. So it's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to March.
Well, you came the other side of it in Tokyo, right? Like you were the team that had the least amount of time to gel together. When now you're going into these games where you would hopefully be one of the teams who have got one of the most amounts of time actually becoming, that unit that the wheelchair rugby team that you guys are known for.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think this is just more time as a team. We've got so many players coming through at the moment too, so much depth, and I would hate to be, Coach Brad Duberly selecting this team, because some of the players he's had to sit out for this tournament was just absolutely mind blowing. And this is fantastic for our sport. It's fantastic for wheelchair rugby. So everyone's fighting for a position. The whole level of our teams going up. We obviously had 2 successful last 2 years. Sort of out of nowhere, to be honest. I thought we were sort of in a bit of a rebuilding, but we've sort of rebuilt pretty quick there. So we've got a good shot this year. We've got to just look at these goals first and obviously qualify. And for me personally, got to keep the shoulder in check and not get too ahead of myself. And hopefully go into the Paris Games swinging a lot harder than we did it in Tokyo, where it was the first time getting together in 2 years because of COVID. So, mate, I am pumped. I am so happy with this team. So many people have asked me, "Oh, what are you going to do after Paris? You're going to retire?" I don't want to retire, because this team's so incredible, and just the mateship I have with so many players there and how deep it is. But we'll soon see what happens in Paris. But that's enough about me, Kurt. Let's just get me off here. How was your Chrissy, mate? How did you go with all the Rascals?
I'm not going to let that one go, because that is the most exciting news that I have ever heard. And you know what? I think I loved my last few years while I was racing. Like, I really, really, really loved it. And then I extended it another few years because I was enjoying, the experience so much. And mate, to hear you speak about your enjoyment with that team and your enjoyment with that sport, that just makes me really happy, mate. And obviously, everyone here at Eula Ripper, we're cheering on the Steelers. It's one of Australia's favourite teams. How couldn't you cheer on the Steelers?
Just going on that, Kurt, though, like it just to be absolutely honest, like, it's an honest thing, and for any athletes out there, it can become a bit of a chore to compete to train. Like, it become a chore, and you start to not enjoy it, and it's something you have to do, and you don't want to let other people down, you don't want to let family down, and it's sort of who you are. And I've gone through those stages, and I'm happy to admit that. I'm like, what am I doing still doing this? Like, obviously I know how lucky I am to represent Australia and compete, and you win a world championship, and I'm like, what am I going on for? What am I doing? Like, there's other things in life I want to achieve. But this year, I'm actually really pumped, and I've got this extra sort of motivation. I'm really pumped to play again. And it's just, it's amazing. And I'm honest about all that stuff. There is tough times, but it's just trying to find those little things. And I am pumped to go play in March and just qualify again.
I had a really tough time before one of my games, and I messaged Jeff Adams, who was the greatest wheelchair of all time, back when I was a young fella. I just loved what he did, and he wrote me this long message. To cut to the chase, it was, every day you go out there, and it may feel like a chore, but remind yourself of why you got started. And a lot of the stories about why you took that first step is that it's almost like this childhood teddy bear, this thing that you carried with you when you're a young fella, that everybody else grows out of, this dream of becoming this person or this thing, that 99% of people, they let that thing go, where the athlete, they don't let that go. They carry that thing because they have that drive to be the person that they kind of felt that they wanted to be as a young kid. And I know, like me, the sport, when it grabbed both of our lives, it changed everything within it. And it really did help me in those last years, reminding myself of the day I first saw and loved wheelchair racing.
I think it's also, you want to look back once you finish your career and know that you've given it your all, and that you went to your mind and your body completely sort of gave up. Obviously, we don't want to be fully injured and whatnot, but you don't want to sit back in your 50s going, oh, I could have played for another 4 years. You want to leave everything out there, be proud of those times, because not many people get to do this in life. So look at us go, Kurt. Start of 2024 and we're just getting all deep and we weren't meant to do that, were we? But it's
This
2024.
is
We're pumping everyone. Let's go.
this is exciting, mate, and the fact that this is Paralympic year. You know what? I had a great Christmas holidays. I had some time with some family, but boy, I'm excited. I'm excited that this is the Paris year, that we get to see that and hear stories that we've never heard before. Who is the person that's going to come out of like the woodwork and own what it is to be an Australian Paralympian? It's an exciting period of time, and we're here at You Little Ripper to share the Paralympic stories over the next 12 months and bring as many people as we possibly can with us on this journey.
You're just excited, Kurt, because a little birdie told me that the You Little Ripper podcast might potentially be going over to Paris. So you've got a trip to Paris.
We're going to Paris. Yes, we are. We're going to be there in person, telling the stories of Paralympians on the ground. I'm so excited about that.
I think that'd be amazing.
I wanted to go to Tokyo to be able to experience the games as somebody watching, but now to be going there to create some content and talk to athletes and share stories from those on the ground in Paris, and also watch my comrades, my peers, and my community go out and do that thing that we all love to see them do. Riley, your You Little Ripper moment.
Oh, mate! Since our last podcast last year. I can't believe we're already in February. There has been a lot happening in the Paralympic world. So many great results. So I always try to make sure I get in before you, Kurt, with these moments, because otherwise you steal mine. But I'm sure you've got one coming up as well, an amazing moment. But for me, it was the Rollers. The Rollers are the Australian men's basketball team. They have qualified for the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. They won in an absolute nail-biter against Iran. I believe there's 2 points in it, Kurt, and there's video footage on, I believe, the Australian Paralympics Instagram, Facebook, and you should just see the excitement. All these guys getting around each other, winning in that buzzer beater moment. They've qualified for the games. It is just an amazing thing to watch. So I encourage you guys to watch it. Well done to the Rollers. They're on the way to Paris 2024 Paralympics.
That's so exciting, mate. Like, that is amazing to see the energy with that group, to know that they're going to take that momentum into the games. Exciting time for Australian sport. Mine's going to be a long one, Riley, but so you might want to go out and grab a cuppa, because
I want to listen to this. I want to hear every name.
My moment is the culmination of multiple Australian Paralympians, their effort, their results at the UCI Paracycling Road World Cup in January. Now, I'm going to start with the relay. Grant Allen, Lauren Parker, that's Lauren, you little Ripper Parker, and Alex Welsh. They won the team relay, but in the time trial, Australia got 14 medals. We've got Caitlin Sherman, Paige Greco, Emily Petricola, Alana Foster, Lauren Parker, Darren Hicks, all gold. Silvers, Anya Mickle, David Nichols, Alastair Donahue. Bronzes, Madeline McNeil, Laura Orbison, Amanda Reid, Meg Lemon, Kieran Murphy, and Michael Fryby. Bronzes, as well as Stuart Jones. But the road race, that was a similar story. Caitlin Sherman, gold. Paige Greco, gold. Emily Petricola, gold. Darren Hicks, gold. Alastair Donahue, gold. And another silver for Amanda Reid, and bronzes for Emma Mickle, Meg Lemon, David Nicholas, Kieran Murphy, and Michael Freiberg. And of course, Lauren Parker won gold in all three events at the UCI Paracycling World Champs. So I was going to give my You Little Ripper moment, obviously, to Lauren You Little Ripper Parker, but I think it's got to go to the entire team. What a result. The start of a Paralympic year. I think that there is definitely some excitement building for and with that team.
It's absolutely amazing to see how many amazing results there. What a team. And Kurt, I decided in the off season to set myself up on the hand cycle on Zwift. It's like a virtual riding platform. But I know a lot of these Australian riders are on there. And I've looked at some of their times and looked at some of the wattage these guys put out, and I'm absolutely blown away. They would leave me in their dust.
That is a terrible idea, Riley, but you don't get older and then compare yourself to some of the greatest athletes of the Paralympic movement. What are you doing? I will hide my data until the day that I die. Nobody gets my data anymore. I used to publicize it. I used to be able to throw it out there for everyone to see, but no, mate. Yeah, you're a glutton for punishment, Riley, but.
Yeah, I'd like to see your data these days compared to what you used to do, mate. Tell us that. Tell us a little about your data from, on your ski erg or your track chair from what you used to do. I'm
Hey,
sure
I still made you spew once, Riley. But remember that who beat you up in the CrossFit gym, mate? Talk about Australian teams. We have a knack in a Paralympic year of finding teams that become world beaters. Now, these two. This is one of the most exciting teams when it comes to the Paralympic world. They are world rowing, a para crew of the year. They joined forces in the PR3 mixed double sculls at the beginning of 23, and they have become world champions and broke the world best time twice. Obviously, I'm talking about Jed Altschwager and Nikki Ayers. Welcome to You Little Ripper.
Thanks, guys. How you going?
Good. How are you guys going? How have you recovered from the Christmas period?
Yeah, pretty good. We both had a bit of illness over the Christmas period, but got to spend time with family and it's just back into it. It's a pretty busy time of the year for us with our qualifications and selection process. So we're both going pretty good.
So each of you are responsible for the weight of the other person, right? At the end of the day, it's a power to weight game. Does anyone kind of drop over and slap a bit of Christmas cake out of each other's hands or what?
Lick a bit of ham off each other's plate or something.
No, we're normally giving it to each other.
No, we eat as much as we need to eat. There's none of that around here. We reckon the fuller the better.
Oh, geez, I'd love to do that, Kurt. How about you, mate? Eat as much as we possibly could.
It's a really strange experience that whenever you run into a dietitian, so many athletes, one of the biggest problems that they have is they don't eat enough. Like you've got this engine that you need to fuel and you've got to throw calories in it. And sometimes you get obsessed with trying to reduce the amount of calories that come in, but that actually in the long term does yourself a bit of a disservice. You need to put the calories in so that the engine builds stronger, not kind of shrinks a little bit. But I'm glad you had a Merry Christmas, and I can't be eating the same cake that I used to be, so I held back on behalf of yours.
We are just jealous. That's what we are, just jealous people right now, thinking about how much food you guys eat. Now, Nikki, Jed, we know that you guys are a newer team. You've only just come together in the last year or two. Can you tell us how you guys got together?
Basically, we first met in the Tokyo cycle. So there was a Train for Tokyo camp in Canberra, and I think it might have even been very close to one of the first times I'd ever sat in a rowing boat. Nikki was there as well. There was a bunch of athletes that sort of followed the cycle through. So we met in Canberra for the first time for the Train for Tokyo. The big boat that season was the mixed four, and so we spent that cycle basically training and trialing for that boat, so it started way back when. So that would have been 2017, end of 17. Both being a little older, we clicked straight away, became mates, and from there it's just been a good relationship, just hanging out, and to be able to do this now is pretty cool.
When did you know it was going to work? Like, was it immediate? Was it before when you were in that? Like, when did you go, this is it, we're all in?
Well, we kind of knew that we were both pretty excited knowing we had a friendship, and like knowing Jed as an athlete, he like always gives 110% and wants to do the best that he can. And so when this boat was announced, we're like, cool, like let's do it. This could be a different experience, hopefully a little bit more positive and fun. And then Jed came to Canberra one weekend for a camp, and I think for me, like it was that first row we had in the boat, we're just like, wow, this is awesome. And the boat just moved really well together, considering we'd never rowed in a double, because we'd both been doing sweep, which is the other discipline of rowing. So it's very different. And like from that moment, I was like, cool. And we're like, okay, all right, let's do this. So yeah.
Yeah, it was early doors when we were sort of starting to get, before we got in the boat, both of us had some success in the single scull, and on paper, like I just had this, I was like, I reckon it's going to be good, and I'm like, I know we connect well, and I was like, and then and then it was only a couple rows and amazing. It just started to click, and we had a great season. Yeah.
So with the rowing, it freaks me out. Like, Kurt, I don't know about you, but like, you know, paddling and going backwards and not seeing what's coming, it's quite unique. Now, who is at the front of the boat, I guess, and who's in charge of actually steering and making sure you don't run into stuff? I understand you're usually going straight, but when you're training, there is bends, right?
Yeah.
So you're in charge, are you, Nikki? Any accidents?
Yeah, no. Jed sits in the front of the boat. He kind of like tries to think he's in control, but really I control everything in the back. So yeah, I do most of the steering and, you know, make all the calls and whatnot. So I have a pretty tough job in the back. Actually, there's a lot going on where Jed just rows and I just have to follow him. So he has the easy job.
But if you don't steer and you hit a bank or something, he's the first one on the fire line to hit the bank, correct? Or
I will, because I'm at the back of the boat. I'm in the bow, so like it's all on me.
I got you. I was so confused then with it all back to front.
Yeah, yeah. So I crossed the line first too, so I get all the world records.
Yeah.
You're never going to beat her, Jed.
I know, she's always a meter in front of me.
Nikki, but you were the one that made the call to move from Canberra to Adelaide, is that right? Like, so people always ask, what does it take to win a Paralympic medal or to become a Paralympian? It kind of takes everything, right? So how hard was that call to kind of pack life up? And
in all honesty, it was quite an easy call for me. You know, we all have stuff happen in our own personal lives, and when Jed and I got selected, it just happened to be the right thing and the best call. And we both had kind of had those conversations and said, look, we're in it. We're in this for the gold. We want to enjoy the journey. And we both knew that the way we could do that, we couldn't do the camp-based system that they had done previously or kind of we intended. We wanted to be in the same training environment. And the South Australian rowing program had a new head coach, Nick Mitchell, who had a really awesome reputation and got along really well with the athletes. So for me, it was probably the easiest decision I made. Just chucked whatever I could fit in my little Corolla and drove to Adelaide, and it clearly paid off. But also it's like, it was great because knowing that Jed and I had a friendship and we had a relationship off the water as well. So it wasn't as daunting coming here, not really knowing anyone. So it was a really easy decision, the best decision I could have done. And I think that's what's made the difference for us, is training together every day, building that relationship, but also challenging each other. You know, Jed's a male athlete and I'm a female athlete. So obviously there's some physical differences and with our disabilities as well, but we still challenge each other and make sure we get the best out of each session and push each other as much as we can as well and have fun while we're doing it.
Nikki, I don't know if I'm going to believe your story then, because I think anyone wants to get out of Canberra, because I know rowing on the water in the middle of winter in Canberra, anyone wants to get out of there. So you're trying to make Jed feel good that you moved there for him, but you just wanted to get away from Canberra.
Yeah, I was pretty excited because when I moved here was in winter, like just at the start of winter. So I missed out on the whole winter season. So I don't miss rowing in -5, -7 on the water, even though they are beautiful mornings, but it's nice just laughing at everyone down here in their long sleeves.
We all still whinge it's cold during winter and she's just in a zoo like it's summertime.
She's tough. I like that.
So how is training looking? You've got a qualification spot so that there will be an Australian boat in that event. How long do you know that you are completely qualified, and how's the form?
Yeah, so the answer to the question, when we officially hopefully qualify our spots back in, I think it's the first week of March, is our selection week. We've got some racing coming up. We've got racing coming up in Sydney in a few days. That's our first sort of on-water racing event. We've had some erg tests and stuff previously, sort of leading up from the tail end of last year all the way through. They're kind of monitoring pieces. And that data gets collated. We hopefully race really hard and well in the single and double this weekend. And from there, you get an official invite to trials. And we'll know what the landscape looks like as far as who's going to be coming to trials. And then we go to trials, execute that week, and then hopefully be selected. And as far as the way we're going, it's been good. Like we've had just even taking off from where we left off last year, like we only really, you moved here in, was it May? And you know, we got that boat moving, and so to have all that behind us, and then the big block that we had through summer, and that's still continuing, it's just we're cruising along. It's going really well.
I've got a question for both of you, actually. So, Jed, it's hopefully going to be your first Paralympic Games. What are you looking forward to? And then also, Nikki, you obviously competed in Tokyo. What lessons that you learned in Tokyo are you going to bring into Paris?
Yeah, the biggest thing, I mean, so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed my entire rowing journey and my para sport journey. I came in through a workplace accident, and so I never even really thought I would be in this situation. And the Tokyo cycle was tough, in and out of basically a reserve pair, doing okay at World Champs, silver medal here and there, but never really breaking through, and then not getting the selection into Tokyo was hard. But also, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then to be now, it's surreal. I feel like the last year has been wild, and I'm definitely not one to count the cards until they've dealt. So I just can't wait. If we get there, having some family there, and most of all going over there and executing the race. And I really feel like finishing this chapter. Not to say that rowing's done, but I've felt like I've pressed the go button in 2017, and I really would like to execute it well. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest lessons I learned from Tokyo is that just like the journey and knowing that you've given absolutely everything you can, so that when you cross that finish line, no matter the result, even though if it doesn't end up being what you wanted, you can look back and be satisfied with what you put in and know there was nothing else that you could have done. Because like that Tokyo cycle, COVID, there's so many things out of our control. Like we got selected, we rode for about 5 days together as a crew, and then we never saw each other again for 6 months till we got to Tokyo, and that was out of our control. And so, yeah, we didn't get the result we really wanted, but I could look back on that journey and be like, well, we did everything that we could within our control and our power to do that. And, I'm still really proud that we came fourth at our first Paralympic Games and we all debuted. And, I'm bringing that mentality into this with Jed, is that no matter what, when we get to that start line, then we cross that finish line in the A final, which is the goal, no matter the outcome, as long as we can both say we gave absolutely everything we could have and did everything we could, like I know that I'll be happy with the result no matter what.
Yeah, it's such an important thing for us. The dynamic in the boat is this really supportive, freeing environment where there's nothing like we want that result really bad, but we want to allow each other to be able to breathe and be who we want to be, and it's a really freeing environment. And then I think we're both on the right page in saying it's the best environment to be in to perform well. And so that's kind of where we're sitting. Yeah.
Just by chance, you're in Paris, you've just crossed the line and won a gold medal. What do you say to each other?
We say, hopefully we get first class on the way home.
Kurt will make sure of that. He's got connections everywhere.
Yeah, we were joking about that the other day, so couldn't miss that opportunity. I don't know. I think it was just like Jed's pretty cooked for a fair bit. Once we cross the line, it takes him a solid couple of minutes to get his breath back. But yeah, I don't know. It'd just be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be incredible to even going back to the feeling of finishing the World Champs just gone. I think layer that up again and turn the knobs up again to the big dance would just be surreal. Like, it's hard to think about it too much because it's fleeting and it's not done till it's done. But once I caught my breath, there'd be a lot of elation, a lot of hugs, a lot of high fives, a few beers. It would be amazing.
Probably some tears.
Yeah,
definitely.
As long as you don't jump in the water afterwards. We don't know about that water quality, hey?
We'll try our best not to.
It could be something different. But look, Jed, Nikki, we are behind you 100%. You Little Ripper is behind you 100% on your journey to Paris. We can't wait to see your results this year. We can't wait to see what happens potentially when you cross that finish line in Paris. Have an amazing year. Thank you for joining us on You Little Ripper as well. And we'll be right behind you for Paris 2024.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for having us, guys. Really appreciate it.
Oh, gee, Riley, Bat, how bloody amazing are they? Firstly, good talent. They're good, great talkers. And just, I don't know, something real about the Paralympians, right? Like something when you get in there and you get to have a good yarn. They those two guys, they give so much of themselves, and it's exciting. It's a really exciting period of time.
Yeah, 100%, Kurt. I got such a good vibe from those two. They seem like they're gelling so well together. They're sacrificing so much in their world for, I guess, the chance to participate in, Paris 2024 together. Such good vibes. I'm hoping we can qualify just so I can see these two in the flesh over there, Kurt. And yeah, we're going to be right behind them. These guys are going to be the next dynamic duo.
Riley, well, I think we wish you good luck. When are we seeing you before you go to the qualification?
No. I won't be on the pod until after. I've got to knuckle down and get all the training and all the travel done, mate. So I've got lots of trips coming up in the next 6 weeks. So hopefully, I will be. I think I'm on the pod the week after we come back from New Zealand. Hopefully, with that ticket to Paris. Otherwise, you might see me with a box of tissues, wiping my tears away, mate. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to catching up on the pod, obviously, with some other hosts while I'm away, and getting my Paralympic news, and then getting back with you guys in March, hopefully, with a ticket to Paris.
We're cheering for you and all the Steelers. And thank you to our listeners of this podcast. We love all things parasport and want to share how amazing it is with the rest of the world. But we need your help to do that.
We definitely do, Kurt. And this is a huge year for all Paralympians. So I encourage you all to share this podcast with your family, with your friends. And then I'm not going to ask you to leave a review. I'm going to tell you to leave a review this time. You must leave us a review, a nice one.
5 stars, 5-star, and a nice comment to say how great Riley Bat is, or to comment on how amazing Nikki and Jed are. And we'll be back with more interviews with your favourite athletes. So make sure you follow You Little Ripper on social media and wherever you get your podcasts.
And we'd also like to say a huge thank you to Toyota for supporting this episode of You Little Ripper. Oh, what a feeling. Thanks, Toyota.